Morning, gang. It's Friday, the 29th of June, 2018. Welcome to this morning's United Kingdom Talk. A little later than usual this morning. I got involved watching the television. Those three wonderful ladies, Angela Rippon, Gloria Honeyford, who was the other one? Julia Somerville. Of course, Angela Rippon, famous for being, was she the first female newsreader here in the UK? How does she look so young? None of them look like they've had any facial surgery at all. And there is an example of three older, beautiful women who haven't found the necessity to have their lips pumped up or stuff shoved into their face to try and make them look younger. They look fantastic. All it is a bit of makeup. I mean, I could sit here if I wanted to, put a little bit of makeup on and look perhaps 10 years younger than I already do. But then I'd be into negative numbers, wouldn't I? You're probably watching this and thinking, who is that 20-something doing a show this morning on worldwide television presentation United Kingdom Talk? That's what you're thinking, isn't it? You know, I could add a little bit of makeup here and there and everywhere else and perhaps look as good as Gloria Honeyford does on her programme, Rip Off Britain. Which I haven't watched that for ages, to be honest. And this morning I started watching it, and I was looking at it, and I thought, God, you three look fantastic. When you watch these American programmes, like The Real Housewives, you know, one of those things where they're chatting, screaming at each other or something like that. Real Housewives of this, that, and the other, or I don't know, but any of those American programs that feature middle to old aged women, they all look like monsters. They've all got these hello, welcome to our show. They look hideous. Why do they muck around with their faces? Not these three. Angela Rippon, Julia Somerville, who were both newsreaders, and who was the other one? Gloria Honeyford. All on there. As I say, Angela Rippon, famous for being, I think, the UK's first newsreading lady back in the 1970s. And she'd sit there and once her earring dropped off. Anyone remember that? She was literally reading the news and an earring dropped off and clanged. Well, that was front page news the next day in all the papers. And I remember one of the headlines, Angela drops a clanger. And she took no notice of it at all. She literally sat there and carried on as if nothing else had happened. And then there was another one. It might have been her, or it might have even been Julia Somerville. I'm not sure. But once someone was reading the news and a studio light just exploded suddenly. And all this light came down. Oh, and she jumped a bit. Oh, one of the lights has gone. And then carried on. We love them. Anyway, they were on this programme called Rip Off Britain today, which apparently it was the last one of the series. But I shall start watching those on the iPlayer because I just like watching those three. They're so warm, don't you think? So when you watch, certain people on the telly are warm. Take, for example, who else would you put in that category? I suppose BBC Breakfast is quite warm, whereas ITV Good Morning UK or whatever it's called, Piers Morgan, nah, not warm. Not warm. Even Susanna Reid, a little bit too sexy for that time of the morning, you know. Mind you, I say that. You know, look at me. You know, looking very, very sexy every morning, as you well know. Anyway, so I'm watching this Rip Off Britain, and it was about this spray roof company that have been ripping off people. They go and they ring you up, and then they come round there, and they're offering insulation. But not insulation like you put down in between the slats on the floor. This insulation is sprayed onto, so if your roof is like that, okay, and you've got your loft, that's the loft space, usually you put your insulation there. Not this. This insulation is sprayed in between the, I don't know what they're called, slats? Wooden bits? Beams. The wooden beams that are holding the roof up, and it sticks there. And it's supposed to do good insulation for you. If I'm looking at this stuff and I'm thinking, you know, that's quite good stuff. wouldn't mind some of that myself, because then you're keeping that part of the roof warm as well. So I've always thought to myself, when you do that bit there, right, what about that bit there? That's still cold, that space there. And I don't know if you're like me, but I've got stuff up in the loft. Nothing of value, just papers and old CDs, that sort of stuff. It's all up in the roof, in the loft. Generally, it's a complete wet, and there's boxes of wires up there. There's a couple of old radios, a few old electrical gadgets. Don't think you're going to break in and find expensive paintings or gold up there or anything like that. There's none of that, I'm afraid. You'd be wasting your time. I haven't got anything like that in the house. I don't believe in expensive paintings and bits of jewellery, this, that and the other, hanging off people's ears and noses. That's awful, isn't it? And a ring through the nose. I think that's all. I think it just always looks dirty to me. It's only my personal opinion. Other people, they like having a ring through the nose. Whatever you want to do is up to you. But it's not for me. Anyway, so they spray this stuff on, and then that insulates the whole of the house rather than just the bit up to there. And I thought that's a good idea. Anyway, they're going around to these places, and they're quoting people like £14,000. Okay, so that's the first figure. 14,000. It's going to be £14,000. And then they get out another little book. When the person says, "Oh, that's too expensive," they get out another. Let me see if I've got any discount codes for you. And they make up a number. A127654. Oh, if I use that one, that brings the price down to £5,000. What, £10,000? You save £10,000. So original price, £14,000. Price now, £5,000. It's too good to be true. You wouldn't do it. And anyway, they spend like two hours in a place trying to convince you to sign up. And then they were telling this woman there's all sorts of stuff wrong with her roof. She's got mould up there and spores. Spores, but we don't like spores, dear. Spores everywhere. She had spores up there, and there was black mould, and it was bad to their health. But just for the sake of £14,000, they can come and do their spray foam stuff on the inside of the roof, and it will all dry out in 10 months, and all will be well and good. And it will also put up to 14% on the price of your house. Well, of course, these elderly. Are they elderly? How old's Angela Rippon? She must be about 70 now. Is that elderly? No, it's not elderly now, is it? Elderly is like 85 plus nowadays, isn't it? Wouldn't you agree with that? Unless you're, of course, 16 and 18. Oh, no, it's really old. Oh, you're 25. Oh, you're really old. You're really old at 25. I'm a millennial. I know everything. I'm offended. So, the three presenters, Angela, Gloria, and Julia, they got experts in to have a look at the roof, and there was nothing wrong with it. Nothing. There was no black mould. There was no damp. There was nothing wrong up there. And they said, as the fact of, putting 14% on the value of your house, well, no, I don't think so. So it was all a bit of a rip-off. And a bloke from Age UK they interviewed as well. And apparently these companies, not just that particular roof company, I mean, I don't know. This spray roof stuff, is that a good thing? It looks good to me. If it's going to insulate your house, anything that insulates your house looks good to me. I'd love to have this spray stuff, but there's no, I wouldn't pay 14 grand for it. Wouldn't pay 5 grand for it. You can buy, and I've seen these, you can buy polystyrene things. Like years ago, people used to put them on the ceiling. Do you remember? I mean, I did it. I did it at my mum's house when I was 16 years old. I'm up this, standing on a stool, actually. Standing on a stool, put glue on this polystyrene stuff and sticking it on the ceiling. Well, it's a bit like that, but much thicker. And you can buy these, and you cut them to size, and you simply push them in between those wooden beams that are up there. That, I presume, would be just as good. To have someone come and spray it, I mean, how much would I pay for that? I don't know, £2,000 maximum, probably. I'd pay £2,000 for that, no more than that. But a bloke comes in, does all that business, and it's all done. You know, if that warms your house up, if that works, then it's probably worth £2,000. It's not worth 14,000. Not unless you're going to live to about 200 years old. You might save a bit of money on the heating. So I don't know, really. Don't know if that works or not. I don't know if any of you have got that stuff sprayed in your loft. But the Age UK people said they actually, these scammers, and they are just another form of scamming, they target old, lonely people. And there are, you know, I hate to say this, but there are elderly people who ring up companies and tradesmen simply because they want someone to talk to. That's true. When I used to work for British Telecom, I was a telephone engineer. And there were many times I'd go round to a house and it would be an elderly man or lady there. And they'd say, oh, could you, thanks ever so much for coming to look at the phone. It just sounds a bit noisy all the time. If you could have a look at it. Would you like a cup of tea and a cake while you're here? Yeah, okay. So out would come the tea and the cake. You go to the phone, we couldn't find anything wrong with it. You know, but then you'd sit there with the elderly person for 10, 15 minutes having a bit of a chat, perhaps give them a new phone, you know, just to say that you've done something there. It's not. I'm not saying that's correct. Shouldn't really give people a new phone unless they really need it. But they're old and you feel a bit, you know. So you sit there and have a cup of tea and toast or cake or whatever. They call people out. They are so lonely, some of them, that they call tradesmen and companies out. And this is where the scammers get in. Because then the scammer will sit there with them for 2 hours trying to convince them, and they end up signing away at hundreds of thousands of pounds. You know, awful, really. So watch out for that. I had a scammer the other day. I've had the scammer on the phone a few times now. Bloke from India, or someone with a strong Indian or Pakistani accent, telling me that they're from BT and I've got viruses in my computer. Am I in front of the computer now? Could you switch it on, please? So I say, oh, yes. Well, I'll have to go up. I keep them on the phone. I keep them on the phone and I go on and on. In the end, they hang up. Probably be just as easy to make them watch one of my shows, to be honest. That'd make them hang up pretty quickly, wouldn't it? So watch out for the scammers. Let me tell you, no one is ever going to ring you up and tell you you've got a virus in your computer. How would they know? How would they know? They wouldn't. Just totally ignore any phone calls like that or give them some mouth down the phone. I found conversations of a sexual nature work very well indeed. You just say, when they ring up, you've got a virus down your phone. Oh, really? Can you tell me what you look like, please? And then I'm not going to go any further than that with you because this is a clean programme, but you can guess what I say down the phone to them. They soon hang up, dear. I'm hoping that one of them comes round at some point. I really am. Right, let's say some hello to some of you this morning. Good morning to Adam the plumber, getting the first message in on Facebook Live this morning. Good morning, Adam. Diane Jeb. Good morning, Diane. Gustav. No, there's no key rings. Why are people going on about key rings? There are no key rings to give away, I'm afraid. No key rings. Good morning to Russ, Philip Vernon, Crane Hannington. Good morning to you. Little bit of makeup, Christopher Darling. Worked with Angela. She is amazing and very nice. Angela Rippon, we love her. There's someone I'd like to meet. I bet she's absolutely fascinating. Angela Rippon, just to sit there in a garden with her somewhere. I'd take her out to an afternoon tea. I absolutely would. I'd book us in a place, either Coworth Park or somewhere near her. I don't know where she lives, somewhere near her, the Grove in Watford. I'd book an afternoon tea, which I'd happily pay for, and sit there and just talk to her. What a wonderful woman Angela Rippon is. I love her. Craig says, worked. Oh, look! Craig worked with her after our spells at Radio Thamesmead, RTM. I didn't know that, Craig. Ange was one of the first with Anna Ford. Yes, wasn't Angela Rippon the first one on the BBC? And Anna Ford was the first one on ITV, if I remember rightly, Craig. Sue Lawley was Light Explode. Sue Lawley was Light Explode. What's Light Explode? I don't know what that means, Light Explode. But Sue Lawley, of course, Yes, sorry. I get you. Sorry, I get you. Yes, Sue Lawley, I remember. I can see it in my head. She sat there reading the news, and Sue Lawley, suddenly a light exploded in the studio, and she jumped a bit and just carried on. If I remember rightly, Sue Lawley was also the one reading the news when they were invaded by lesbian Avengers. Do you remember that? The 6 o'clock news. Da 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 da. Boom. Boom, boom. I remember that. And she started reading the news, and lesbian Avengers invaded the studio. Oh, it was hilarious. Oh, good morning to John Aitken, who says, "Are you in cloud cuckoo land with that jacket?" Do you like this one? This is my cloud jacket. I've been very careful to adjust my collar. I spoke to Ray Reynolds on the phone yesterday. And what do you think the first thing he says about the show? When he says, first thing he mentions about the show, nothing about the content, nothing about any of the content that I spend hours preparing before I come up here. Nothing about the content. He said, your collar was crooked yesterday. And no comment at all about anything else. People are always so quick to point out faults, aren't there? And, you know, much that I check, I cannot find any faults in myself at all. I really can't. Good morning, Kevin Webster. John, I hate body piercings as well. No, it's not for me, John. I don't mind a couple of earrings, you know, but apart from that, the nose thing, no. Good morning to Billy Watkins, who's on holiday at the moment, aren't you, Billy? Good morning, Billy. Now, are you in a caravan park? Oh, I know you're in a holiday park somewhere. Is it a caravan place you're in, like Haven Holidays? Because you know I really like caravan places, don't you? John, Angela Rippon is 73. She looks great. Understatement. She looks absolutely fantastic, Angela. Well, all three of them do. Gloria Hunniford, Julia. Well, just imagine, not just Angela Rippon to have a cup of tea with, but all three of them sitting there. Oh, I think they're wonderful, those three. I really do. And, you know, let's be quite blunt with this. None of them have ever had to get their tits out for the newspaper, have they? You know, you don't need to do that. All these young pop stars, you've never seen Angela Rippon, Julia Somerville or Gloria getting them out for the newspapers, have you? Don't need to do that. If you've got talent like those three have, then you don't need to do any of this trash television, Love Island or anything like that. Adam, I hate it when I hear of a company ripping off people. Loft Insulation works as well. And there are grants available to help the elderly with this. I sometimes think I'm too honest for my own good. Maybe that's why I never make any money. No, I think you're right, Adam. But don't you worry. You do that little job for me, you'll make some money, darling, all right? Adam's doing a little job for me. Was it the... I wrote it down, actually. August the 13th? Am I right there? It's about a month away, isn't it? I can't remember. I can't remember what date I gave you now, Adam. Oh, it must be in the diary somewhere. What date did I give you? I've got... I'm a landlord, you see, and I've got a flat becoming empty and the bathroom needs doing, so I've got Adam. Give Adam the plumber a little bit of work there. Love the sound of the bird in the background. Oh, yeah, there's a few birds out there singing away. These birds are singing here in Bracknell this morning. Thank you. Mark says, the light exploded on Jan Leeming. Oh, was it Jan? No, I think it was Sue Lawley. Oh, you might be. I don't know. I'm not quite sure which one it was. Nicholas Witchell. Thank you, Craig. Nicholas Witchell. I know that one as well. Yes, indeed. Jan Leeming. Okay, Jan Leeming. Alan. Good morning, Alan, who loves the jacket and shirt combination. Do you want this tonight, Alan? Are you in tonight? We got karaoke tonight, boys and girls, at Central Station. I might wear my cloud jacket tonight. This was 10 quid. Seriously, this is like a joke jacket. You can get them on Amazon. Here's a little tip for you. If you want Christmas and Halloween type jackets, buy them now. Okay? Because they go up. They kind of double and triple in price around the Christmas Halloween period. I've got a Halloween one which arrived, unfortunately, far too late for last year's Halloween. Although they are looking a bit big on me now since I have lost enormous amounts of weight. Thank you, Alan. Hope you well. Alan goes to some beautiful places with scenery, you know, hills and walks and things like that. You're actually very similar to me, Alan. You'd be surprised. Billy. Yes, it's his sister's caravan. Fantastic. Carry on camping. Yeah, I'm looking at buying a caravan, Billy, up near my sister. I did have a little. I've been up there twice now, unsuccessfully, unfortunately. So I haven't found one yet. But there's no need to rush. You know, I'm kind of saving a little bit more money now. Thank you, Adam. August the 13th. That's a Friday, isn't it? August the 13th. There it is. August the 13th. Adam. Let me write that down. Right. So I think, well, how do we do that? Do we go in, see what needs to be bought, go and buy it, and then just do it? Is that how it works? I was hoping for some photographs, but they haven't arrived yet of the place. Does that matter? Is it quite a quick thing to do? I don't know, Ads. I don't know if that's quick or not. Actually, Adam, if you want, I can perhaps empty out my spare room, and you can either stay at the flat or here while you're doing it. You don't want to be going backwards and forwards all the time, surely. Or maybe you don't mind that. I don't know. Maybe you don't mind that. It's up to you, whatever you want to do, darling. All right. Good morning to Colin. Good morning, Colin, who's very pleased that he's got one of his favourite DJs back at the City of Quebec now, haven't you? The very talented Mr. Jeffrey Clapper. So very pleased. You'll have a nice day there. Over on YouTube this morning, good morning to Claire L. Good morning, Claire. A vision in blue, she calls me this morning. Paul Mutt. I don't know why I've got clouds on. There's not a single cloud in the sky. I'll come to the weather in a minute. Morning to Paul Mosley. Claire reckons she's now got 2 keys. There's no key rings. I haven't had anything made yet. There's no key rings or anything. All right. Hello to Luke Bickers. Morning, Luke. Rob in the Wirral says Anna Ford big on news at 10. Yeah, she was the first news reading lady on news at 10. And Anna Ford went from there to TVAM, didn't she? She went to TVAM, and that all went wrong, didn't it? TVAM didn't work. I don't know why it didn't work, actually. I think the BBC got in first. Yes, I remember now. BBC Breakfast Time got in 2 weeks earlier, I think. This is before we had breakfast television. So the BBC, this would be 1983, somewhere around there, 1983. We had no breakfast television until then. It was just a test card. There was nothing on the telly. So BBC Breakfast Television started, and they had an instant hit with the wonderful Frank Bough. I used to love him on the telly. I've never been a sports fan. Didn't watch Grandstand or anything like that, but he'd done Nationwide as well. And he'd done BBC Breakfast. He was on there for some time, and they just got it right first time. There was her, Selena Scott. There was Frank Bough. There was Selena Scott, and there was a bloke called Francis Wilson doing the weather. And it all gelled together from the moment it started. It was fantastic. It was very warm, and it was very comforting. And you turn on the telly, and there they'd be with that little logo that came up. And wonderful music, actually. Ba 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 ba. I've actually got it here. Do you want it? Do you want the old BBC breakfast music? Do you want a bit playing in the background while I'm talking to you? I can find that. One moment, please. Got it all on here, you know. Right. BBC. That'll be out of copyright now, surely, won't it, that one? I would imagine. I hope so, anyway. BBC. There it is. BBC Breakfast Time. Here it is. I'll put it on in the background for you. Can you hear that? Little tunes and bits coming on there. Yes, I remember seeing it. And, well, I mean, it just worked. It worked from the beginning. And then TVAM came along a couple of weeks later when we all watched it. Well, it wasn't... I don't know what it was, because they had some fantastic people on there. There was indeed Angela Rippon. Anna Ford was on there. The political bloke, can't remember his name now. There were 5 of them all together. And they all did their thing, and it was all good. But it didn't gel together properly. And I don't know why that is. Anyway, they lost viewers and then money, and I think they went bankrupt, and then they handed over to someone else, and they were replaced by a puppet rat. You remember this? Oh, isn't it lovely? And the little sun. Yeah. And I used to keep drawing this little symbol for some reason on posters and things like that. It was a little cartoon type thing. It had all been done, of course, there were no computers, with bits of coloured paper, and they put it all together and made it move around and photographed it in various different forms. And it was wonderful. And we had a few years of that. And then they sacked Frank Bough because he got caught in, like, shall we say, a Miss Whiplash moment. I think he got caught. I'm not 100% sure of this. I think he got caught in some sort of sexual deviant thing, doing drugs or something like that. Well, you know, it doesn't exactly affect during breakfast time, does it? We just like to watch him. And I don't care what people do in their private life, to be frank. To be frank. To be honest, it didn't bother me. We just like to watch him on the telly. What did that have to do with his television presentation? I don't think it would make any difference these days. But unfortunately, they sacked him. I can't remember who replaced him. But then it kind of lost its appeal for me after that, and I didn't like the TVAM. No, they'd gone by then. I didn't like the Roland Rat thing. That wasn't for me, so I just stopped watching breakfast television. And that was the end of it. Nowadays, eventually, as time went on, the BBC replaced it with a more newsy type thing, you know. So then they sat behind. Actually, Frank Bough was there when they changed it. They started sitting behind desks rather than on the sofa, and it became less warm and more newsy, and that didn't do it for me. Not at that time in the morning. Nowadays, they're back on a big red sofa and various presenters. Some I prefer to others. I used to like Bill Turnbull. He was good. I like Naga Masuri. I'm not sure if I got her name quite right. Naga. I quite like her. And the bloke on there is one bloke on there, I can't remember his name again, but he's clearly had Botox in his face because it don't move. And they think it looks good. Good morning to Maureen. Welcome, Maureen. We're all a little bit late this morning, but never mind. Rob says Frank Bough was in the cocaine and brothel scandal. Yeah, it was the cocaine and brothel scandal. That's right. Cocaine and brothel. But, I don't know why they sacked him. I really don't. It's a glorious morning in the Wirral, Rob says this morning. You can text the show if you want to, boys and girls. If you haven't got access to a computer, feel free to text. It's 07551 259 675. 07551 259 675. Okay? Paul says, didn't Frank Bough like his bondage? Well, yeah, it did. But don't bother us. I can't imagine, Paul says, I can't imagine Kay Burley looking good at 73. Well, I'm hoping when Kay loses the job at Sky or they change things at Sky, she never appears on the telly again. Because she's one of the most miserable, cold women I've ever come across there. Her and that Victoria Beckham, miserable people. Kay Burley was on LBC for a while. And I think she took over from Steve Allen on a Saturday or a Sunday morning, somewhere around there. And Steve would get... Oh, God. My computers are all restarting. No, that one isn't, is it? Oh, dear. My computers have just restarted in front of me. Now, why has that happened? But you can see, you're still there, aren't you? Okay, I can't see your Facebook messages for the moment. All right? My broadcast computer's still on. The other two are silent. I think you can still see me. Anyway, we'll carry on. I can still get YouTube and Periscope messages, but not on Facebook Live at the moment. It's restarting for some reason. Dear me. Never mind. Where was I now? Oh, I've lost my position now. Oh, yeah, Kay Burley. Kay Burley. I hope she won't appear on the telly. She used to do a show on Steve Allen's, on LBC rather, straight after Steve Allen's show. And there would be like the crossover. You know, they don't all do it, but some presenters talk to each other in between their shows. So if you're on sort of 10 till 1, then the next presenter comes in about 10 to 1 and then starts talking to you. You know, you have a little bit of a sort of a crossover. Oh, that's coming back online. Let's see what was going wrong there. Oh, I remember now. It wanted to do a virus screen update or something like that. Right, we'll give that a second and I'll fire that back up. And so she would come in, and Steve was like, "Hello, come into the studio. I bought you," and he would always buy her a present in the morning. And Steve was all chatty. Well, she didn't know what to say. She just came across as like completely thrown and out of her depth because she had to have a conversation with someone which didn't involve sort of news. It was a bit strange, really. And listening to them he was obviously trying to have a conversation with her, but it weren't coming back the other way at all. And it didn't work. And I think she was only on there a few weeks and suddenly she disappeared. You find this with radio. Rarely does anyone say goodbye. You know, when they finish a radio show, I'll tell you what happens. This is normally what happens. Okay, so you're doing a show. You've got no idea. You've got no idea. You're doing your normal show. Thanks ever so much. I'll see you again Monday morning. And then you finish your show. And then you get a call in from the boss of the station. And then you go and see the boss. Thanks very much, Chris. You've just done your last show. We won't be needing you anymore. That's how it works. It's hard, it's nasty, because of course, radio stations don't want to take the risk that you're going to run down the station or something because you've just been sacked. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean you've been sacked because you're no good at what you do. They might want to take a different direction. I've always thought along these lines when I've been doing my DJing or karaoke nights. Sometimes, depending on the situation, is whether or not you're a little bit perplexed by the fact that perhaps you've just been sacked or something like that. Ah, there we are. We got the messages back now. There we go. The messages have come back. Now there might be some missing. So I'm warning you that, okay? People, sometimes they get very, very upset if you miss out their messages. Oh, yes. You get death threats and all sorts. Why haven't you read out my message? Because it weren't interesting. That's why. Or it might have disappeared. Sometimes there's so many messages coming down there that I can't keep up. It's just how it is sometimes, you know. You've got more chance, though, of me reading out your message than you have if you ring in Radio 1 or 2. I guarantee you that. Guarantee you that. Aaron Kelly, Sky News. Oh, Kay Burley, please don't. Don't watch her. It's as simple as that. I don't watch her. She's one of the coldest creatures, and I don't think she has. She's an NP. She's an NP. Do you know what an NP is? No personality. When you're going around places, right, and if you've got a mate, then tell them about what NP means. NP means no personality. So perhaps if you're in a shop or something like that and you try and strike up a conversation with perhaps the person who's on the checkout or whoever's walking around and your mate's with you and nothing comes back. All right, how are you this morning? Then you look at your mate and you say in loud voice, no P, NP. Sorry, NP. You say NP, you look at the person and then walk off. You've got one over on them then. Because they're so miserable. People are so miserable. They don't want to have any sort of conversation with you at all. Let's have a look. Good morning, Simon Reed. Good morning, Simon. Welcome to our little show there. Oh, dear. These messages are all over the place now. Ray Reynolds has joined us this morning. Good morning, Ray. We were talking about you earlier. Did you miss it? You'll have to go backwards again. Yes, go back again. That's it. Rob Bailey's there. I think I read Rob Bailey's. Roland Rat was funny, said John Aitken. Yes, he was. He was funny. Roland Rat was funny. It just wasn't for me first thing in the morning, really. Roland Rat chatting away like that. Billy liked Moira Stewart. She was my favourite newsreader. Moira Stewart sacked apparently by the BBC for being too old. I mean, just unbelievable, isn't it? Too old. That's why she was sacked. She got a job later on back at the BBC on BBC Radio 2, I think, doing the news, doing the Chris Evans show when he took over from the late, great Terry Wogan. Da-da-da, Terry Wogan, Radio 2. We loved Terry Wogan, didn't we? So there we are. All right. Let's just... Oh... That means all my news stories have disappeared now. Hang on, can I reopen closed tabs? That should be there somewhere. No. Reopened closed windows. There they go. Yes. So here comes the weather story, boys and girls. The weather story. Yes, indeed. Britain is facing a drought warning as the heat wave enters its 6th day and temperatures are to soar. They are soaring, boys and girls, to 86 degrees Fahrenheit today. Now, remember, when we're in summer, use Fahrenheit. It always sounds so much better than a paltry. It's just 30 degrees centigrade. 30. Oh, is that all? 30 centigrade sounds just awful, doesn't it? 86 Fahrenheit is what we're going to have today, boys and girls. Households could experience a water shortage as the country heads towards its driest June in 90 years. Well, I've got to tell you, I can't remember the last time we had rain here. I really can't. Now, I'm not one to water the lawn. I don't water the lawn. The last 2 nights I have. It's absolutely bone dry and there's hardly any green now in the lawn at all. Now, I go round and water the other plants. I try and do those, but I've also done the lawn on the last 2 nights because it's just brown. There's no green at all. Anyway, what they're saying now is we could experience a water shortage, driest June in 90 years, with providers urging families to put away garden sprinklers and take 4-minute showers instead of baths. I've never liked baths. I mean, you just sit there in your own dirty, scummy water. And you know it's scummy because you get that line around the top of the bath, don't you? You know, which may or may not be filthy dirty, depending how dirty you are. You know, if you are sort of a 30-something workman or electrician and you want me to install a bath for you to come round and use, then do let me know and I will have one installed, but I don't have one at the moment. Just a shower. Mind you, my shower can get about 3 or 4 people in there. If any of the lads want to come round and use that, you're welcome to come and use my shower. I may use it at the same time. 4 of us might be a bit of a squeeze, but I'm sure we can all squeeze in there as long as we push up together and it's nice and cosy in my shower. Would you like that, lovey? No, Ray, you're not invited. Firms warned, let me have a look. Firms warned families and businesses could be hit with restrictions on how much water they run from taps and have also told homeowners to stop using or avoid using, I haven't said stop yet, using hoses to clean cars or water the plants. Now, I must admit, I don't get the hose out that often. I actually do mine with a watering can. I've got a big watering can and I prefer to, I fill it up. And I go outside and I come back and I fill it up and I go outside and I come back and I fill it outside. I don't know why. I find it quite therapeutic doing that rather than just standing there with this great big long hose and chucking the water in like that. The hottest day of the year was observed for the 4th consecutive day yesterday as North Wales, in the Welsh Wales in the valley. In the Welsh Wales Valley with the sheep. Yes, in North Wales, which is a beautiful part of the country, hit 91.4 degrees Fahrenheit, beating its own record set the previous day of 89.4. The Met Office yesterday was the first time in 5 years that the temperature have hit 86 Fahrenheit in all 4 nations of the UK. Yes, Scotland, Northern Ireland, Welsh Wales and England. The Met Office yesterday in all 4 nations of the UK, and temperatures are expected to make it up to the same level again today. And I've looked at the weather forecast, certainly for here in Bracknell, and it doesn't drop below sort of 85 now for at least the next 2 weeks, according to the long range thing on there. We're not seeing any rain whatsoever, but we might have the older hose restrictions, might we? John says, any news on Barry Manilow's health scare? Yeah, he was on the telly the other morning, John. Didn't you see it? He was on there the other morning. He's out of hospital. The hospital, he had bronchopneumonia. He went in. He had a bit of treatment. The doctors and nurses said, you can't work for 6 weeks. 4 days later, he was out of there, jumped on a plane, and he's on the telly. Brilliant. Brilliant. He's a strong old ox, he is, Barry Manilow. I think he'll be around for at least another 50 years, I do. Rob says, much easier watching you on my 65-inch plasma. No more up shorts, though, please. Did you want another look at my legs this morning, Rob? Ray, Heidi Hi viewers. Oh, gosh. The best radio station was Radio London. Yes, indeed, in Frinton, 1964-67. Tony Blackburn's always going on about that, isn't he? All right. Good. Right, what's the time? Now, I'm going to be a little bit of a shorter show today because I've kind of run out of time. I got up I also got up a bit late. Do you know what time I got out of bed? 9 o'clock. That's disgusting. I'm usually up by 8. I didn't set the alarm. I haven't been setting the alarm the last 3 days because I'm off work Tuesdays, Wednesdays and Thursdays now. So it's pointless, me getting up too early. But there we are. I was going to do another news story. Let me see where it is. Oh, here it is. This is in the Daily Mirror in the weird news section, okay? They say children do the funniest things. Well, sometimes it's true. But on other occasions, the things they do can lead their parents into a lot of trouble. That's the case of one dad who was almost in the doghouse after his daughter found a funny item in his car. The dad explained the situation on social media, and it's just as awkward as you would expect. He began by revealing how his 4-year-old daughter surprised him and his wife by asking her, Mum, why her bra was in Dad's car. The dad was shocked by the comment and says the missus began giving him killer side eyes. Did you see my killer side eyes then? As she hadn't been in the car for weeks. Awkward. The dad then said, ain't no bra in my car. His daughter replied with, yaha, the cup thingy with the straps. Shocked, the three headed to the garage to go and look for the offending item. Instead of a bra, the family see a disposable face mask, the kind people use when working in environments where they are exposed to dust and other particles. Watch out for those particles. Particles everywhere, boys and girls. Watch out for the particles. The dad shared a picture of the mask on Twitter before posting a gif of a man looking relieved. So it wasn't actually a bra, it was one of those masks. So there you go, ladies. Okay, if you're ever out somewhere and you notice particles in the... particles. If you notice there's particles in the air, then quickly whip off your bra and put it over your face. And that'll sort you out nicely, okay? John's up at 6 o'clock every day. Well, rather you than me, mate. I think there's only one birthday today. And today's birthday is for Robert Coppens. Good morning, Robert. I know, are you the Robert that I know? Let me have a look. Yes, it's our Robert. How are you? Cool, dear Rob. You must be very old now, my friend. Rob helped me move here, actually. Him and Ross, wasn't it? Him and Ross helped me move here years ago. When I moved here, they turned up. They just turned up and helped me carry all my boxes and bits and things. So that's only one birthday today, boys and girls. Robert, here we go. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Robert. Happy birthday to you. Have a nice birthday. Now, just a reminder, our quiz has now moved, gang. Sunday quiz. Okay, it starts this Sunday. That's Sunday, the 1st of July. 8:30 is our start time at the King's Head Theatre Pub. Completely free to enter. I could do with a few bodies down there, being the first night, okay? So quiz night this Sunday, Sunday the 1st of April, Sunday the 1st of July at the King's Head Theatre Pub from 8:30. If you have a look at the bottom where it says the address, the T is missed off. It says 115 Upper Street. Can you see? No T. And Tim Partington was quick enough to... People like to point out incorrectivities. Is that correct? Incorrectnesses? Something like that? Rather than mention anything to do with the hours I extensively researched for this programme, okay? That's it there. 115 Upper Street in Islington, and that starts on Sunday night. Tonight, it's Friday night, so we got karaoke tonight. If you're coming along, North London, there you go. It's karaoke time tonight and every Friday at Central Station Bar in Wharfdale Road, King's Cross. Starts at 8:30 right the way through till 12 midnight. Come down there. It is a busy night, Fridays, okay? But we've got a little air conditioning unit in there, which doesn't do an awful lot, to be honest. So if you want to come down in your Speedos or anything like that, make sure you're bloody well fit. We can't have any fatties like myself coming down there in Speedos. No one over the age of 35 in Speedos, please. That includes myself. I may have a little look in my cupboard to see if I can find perhaps a little pair of sparkly shorts to wear just for your entertainment this evening. Thanks very much, gang. Enjoy your Friday. I'm off to the swimming pool now, and I'll see you again sometime tomorrow morning. Thanks for watching and listening. Cheerio now.